Hey, how's it going? Hopefully you guys can hear me. Tell me if the audio isn't good enough. I'm just getting this thing set up for you. All right. All right, that was exciting. Damn, ring stand. All right, just gonna work. Gonna sort of kind of work. That was the best start to a Facebook Live I've ever done. All right, here's the deal. I'm at SeaTac. It's a Saturday afternoon. I'm on my way to Joe Polish's thing in Phoenix. It's called the Genius Network. Hey Andrew, hey Aaron, you guys can hear me all right? Hopefully I'm not like shouting and pissing off everyone around me. All right, here's the first thing you gotta know if I don't knock my phone over. Okay, check this out. I have this delicious cup of filtered water because Starbucks actually pioneered using filtered water for coffee, which is really important. So what I did is I walked up and I said, I want a Venti double hot water. So empty cup, hot water cup. I brought with me my bulletproof coffee beans. Oh, thanks, Connie. I like to look young today. I was just filming this morning with Rachel Hunter in Vancouver. If you look on the Facebook page, there's actually I took a helicopter. It was the only way I could get there and still make this flight. Robert, I'm in transit in Seattle. I'm on my way to Phoenix. So I'm gonna add some bulletproof coffee beans. I just ground those this morning. You wanna get the mold-free coffee because, well, only 34 studies say there's mold in coffee. Or maybe I'm making it up. Except, oh wait, almost every government in the country except the US and Canada has regulations about these mold toxins. Because I'm not making them up. Anyhow, now I've got coffee, hot water. This is an amazing piece of technology. Watch. You pour the hot water in. Now, here's the trick. You wait about, hey Jaime, you're at the MSP airport. You know, I've been looking at probiotics for a while. It's tough to know exactly which ones, but yeah, it's been something I've paid attention to. So what's going on now in this cup of coffee is you tap it a while. You might need to break the crust on top. I didn't bring a stirrer, which would have been smart. Maybe I'll use my sunglasses. Here we go. Check this out. The Bulletproof Contigo mug, right here. This is where it's gonna go when I'm done. So check this out. If you need to stir your coffee, sunglasses work great. These are my Irlen tinted Oakleys. Irlen, I-R-L-E-N. If you're not familiar with that, check out the podcast with Helen Irlen. She totally saved my eyes. She does custom tinted stuff. Debbie, is Italian coffee more clean? If it's actually meant for sale in Europe, Italian coffee is required to do 5 parts per billion of ochratoxin A, but they don't test for the other 26 toxins that I test for. If it's sold in the US, it's going to meet US standards. There are no US standards, so well, you can imagine what it's going to be like. Hey Leah, you're so welcome. Hey Rick. So, yes, I just licked my ear sweat off my glasses, but oh well, that was kind of gross, but it worked. All right. Hey Rachel. Adrian, yeah, it's been a busy couple weeks. I actually did the Bulletproof Conference with 3,000 people. I just did this filming, and I was somewhere else. Oh, I had 6 CEOs over at my house yesterday to come to Bulletproof Labs and play around. It was really cool. William Keating, your mug has 500,000 miles on it. These bulletproof mugs, they don't leak, ever. Mine's on top of my laptop full of bulletproof coffee all the time. Elizabeth, to get Irlen Oakleys, you just get tested for Irlen. You pick out the Oakleys you want that have replaceable lenses, and then they cut the lenses in there. Aaron, I was in Vancouver for all of 4 hours because I literally helicoptered into North Van, took a car. I would have taken an Uber, but they're illegal in BC. Thank you, Canada. Come on, guys. I know we could do better in BC. The rest of Canada has them. Toronto has them. Anyway, we do that. Oh, thanks, Pearson, about the new Labs gear. My new bulletproof hat. Check this thing out. Bulletproof. And I have hot hair. Okay, how many calories do I consume in a day? From Robert. I don't count. I eat a lot of fat. I use brain octane in every meal, and for a while I was doing 4,000 to 4,500 calories a day just to sort of see if I could make myself fat on this bulletproof diet stuff. It didn't work. I couldn't make myself fat. Ben, did I have to pay Metallica to include bulletproof in the lyrics of the new song? Are you freaking kidding me? They didn't really say bulletproof coffee. They probably just said bulletproof. I love Metallica. I want to it's been a dream to go to have those guys at some event or something. I actually had at the Bulletproof Conference the guy from Stone Temple Pilots, Eric the drummer, was at one of the dinners, and Yeah, so it's kind of cool. Like whenever I hear musicians using Bulletproof, it just makes me happy. So I don't know if they're using it or not. If they were, I would just like drop dead, go insane, which is super cool. Maybe I could ask. Rick Rubin was at the conference too, who I'm honored to have gotten to know a little bit, and he's like, I know he's done work with Metallica and like every other band, like Rage Against the Machine, all the people I've ever like totally been amazed by. So maybe there's a connection there. Ricardo, I am not going to put butter in it this time. I would use Instamix, except the reason I'm not doing that is I'm actually too full. I just had 2 big things of guacamole with brain octane mixed in, and I'm like, I don't need any more food right now. But I have some packets of Instamix in my bag right here. Instamix is butter and brain octane and a 0 glycemic index resistant starch that feeds gut bacteria. Debbie, is there Bulletproof Espresso? We have French Kick and the Mentalist. French Kick is our darkest roast, the Mentalist is medium dark, and my current favorite. And actually, I think Mentalist Espresso better than French Kick, but French Kick has a more classic espresso flavor. You can totally do that. Jake, don't tell anyone. Yes, it's too late to drink coffee. I'm flying to Phoenix, and I've been up since pretty early this morning, and I am sacrificing a little bit of sleep, but I won't be there for a while, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, it's about 3 hours too late to drink coffee, so I'm not going to drink all this. I'm using the extra space here. Jay, I'm working on the wholesale thing. I just hired a new guy for that. Hey, thanks, Dale. The new hat should be on the website sometime soon. Dave, you've got the mug. It really doesn't leak. I tested 100 mugs to find this one. Like I seriously looked all over the place. All right. What was I recording with Rachel? She's doing a new deal that's going to come out next year, so it was like an interview thing. It was cool. Matt, biggest upgrades from 40 years of Zen. So, 40 years of Zen is my brain training. Over the course of the last 8 years, I've used a variety of partners to try and cobble together something that would work for my brain, and then to bring it to CEOs and to celebrities and just to people who are really into doing everything you could do for your brain. What I found was that I tapped out after a certain number of those. There was nothing else that would work. So over the last year, I've kind of secretly had new hardware and new software developed by the top EEG company on the planet, like guys who've been doing this for 35 years. And now I actually started the 40 Years of Zen in-house that I'm running and fully responsible for, where we could add in the last 20 years of neuroscience that was missing from the way I did it before. So we've got gamma, it's a completely different experience than it was before, and I'm absolutely blown away. Like the new 40 Years of Zen is it's so different than the way I used to do it, and just stronger. And we're able to tap your brain out in 5 days. And the people who have gone through this evolutionary process for the last 8 years have always had profound changes like I have. But I got to here, and I couldn't go anymore with the old tech. With the new tech, like I'm getting brainwaves that I've never seen before, and we're doing it with equipment that's never existed before. So thanks for asking about that, Matt. James, you're welcome. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Bulletproof Coffee. I introduced Rachel Hunter, who's a pretty famous. She never tried it, and I gave it to her, and like 5 minutes later, she's like, "My legs are tingling. Like, this is so good." I don't know. I love the feeling, just the look in people's eye when like their brain wakes up all the way. So it's so cool. Anthony, you were at the conference. How do you rehydrate after drinking so much coffee? Fat water, of course. I would just recommend drinking lots of water. David, Bulletproof Labs in Santa Monica, which we announced at the conference, should be opening hopefully within a couple weeks. It's whenever we get the final approval. Adrienne, or Adriana, probably Adrienne, you've upgraded your life with the books, podcasts, and products. Thank you. Thank you. It's like my pleasure to share this with you. Teresa, good to hear from you. Mike, leading Parkinson's specialist I'd recommend. I didn't know that I have a specialist, but let's talk about Parkinson's for a minute. Because Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, ALS, they all share some commonalities. They all have mitochondrial dysfunction at their core. My new book is about mitochondria, and I've been looking at mitochondrial function for 15 years in my own body to recover from toxic mold and Lyme disease and fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome and all the other stuff that different people diagnosed. What underlies all of these is mitochondrial dysfunction, and almost always a biotoxin that inhibits your mitochondria from making the energy that it takes to be you. So when you're looking at Parkinson's, you got to be looking at toxins, parts per billion toxins, including those from mold and some other environmental things. Toxins that dissolve into fat, inhibit the ability of the mitochondria to make energy, because you need that energy to make the lining of your nerves. Jeff, is it okay to add a small amount of wild blueberries to your bulletproof coffee? Actually, yeah. If you have a little bit, you may not drop out of the bulletproof intermittent fast, but wild blueberries are full of polyphenols that raise brain-derived nootropic factor, so heck yeah, you could do that. And hey guys, I'm seeing all the likes here. Thank you. When you like these things, it actually helps Facebook know that apparently I'm cool or something, so then other people will see it. So when you give this a like, or you share it, especially with a friend, or you just leave comments. By the way, you can leave me like cat pictures in the comments. It totally works. Like whatever you like. You can leave dog pictures too if you don't like cats. GC Jorge, am I doing a bulletproof conference in New York? I'm thinking about it. It's a big production. Like the whole company takes basically a couple of weeks off. It is possible. Connie, best coffee method for home. Regular coffee pot, you're going to pour over, and my skin looks different, so the red. All right, so multiple questions here. It could just be the dimples. These are actually, see them? Upgraded dimples. In order to do these, you need like a tunneling laser. Okay, I don't know, I was just born with them. But pour overs work really well. They take about 2 minutes. So if you have 2 minutes of meditation time, get the proper pour over kettle. I think Bonavita makes it with a temperature control, and it's like you grind the coffee, you put it in the filter. We have a new coffee grinder on the Bulletproof store, which is like a really epic one. But you pour like really carefully, and it's like a meditation for 2 minutes. If you don't have time for that, Ratio makes a $500 coffee maker that does an automated pour over with perfectly temperature controlled water. And you could also just do like what I'm doing right here, cowboy coffee. It's the least cleanup method, assuming you're not on a septic system. What you do is you basically grind the coffee, throw it in water, swirl it around, and then you pour it through a metal filter when it's done. So you get full immersion, and then you take the metal filter, turn it upside down in your drain, and run some hot water, garbage disposal, and you're done. French presses, you have to like disassemble them, but if you want to do French press, which provides slightly better, but a little bit more cleanup, we have a double wall laboratory glass olive wood handled French press that I just added to the Bulletproof store because it's like the coolest French press ever. It keeps the coffee hot. That's a really good way to do it. Chuck, diatomaceous earth for internal consumption. How do I feel about it? I've used diatomaceous earth, starting like 15 years ago, and I don't use it every day or even every week. But if you have worms or intestinal issues or yeast, diatomaceous earth that's food grade can be really transformative. Plus, you can just keep ants out of your house. If you put food grade diatomaceous earth, it cuts their little feet, so they'll go somewhere else. Thanks, Melissa. All right. Giancarlo. Thanks, Dave, for all your help. My mind feels so much faster. Played a soccer game with a few ex-pros and kept up just fine. It really feels like it's the coffee. It's a different level of performance, and like people keep talking about, it's not possible. I'm like, I feel this all the time, and it's so cool. All right, William. D'Agostini indicated keto salts were okay. My parting comments cast doubt. Can I verify? Rock God, Rick Rubin. So here's the deal with keto salts. If you guys follow me closely, I synthesize ketone esters. And if you are trying to get ketones into your body, the number one way on the market right now is brain octane, which turns into ketones when you eat it. Even in the presence of carbohydrates, you still make ketones. So it's exogenous ketones. Keto esters, which you heard about from Dr. Veach on my show, who studied with Hans Krebs. These are the best way to do it, but when I synthesized them, it was $30,000 a kilo, and I could afford like this much. So it wasn't commercially viable, and it's still not commercially viable. So what's in the middle is keto salts, and of course, you'd think I would launch a bulletproof keto salts, given that I use ketosis strategically to turn off hunger. Only little problem there is that there isn't a manufacturer who I can find who will make them without acetone and formaldehyde. So I've tested every product on the market, and I've called every manufacturer out there, and the levels that my own tests found were that if you took between 2 and 3 of the recommended dose, you would exceed the FDA limits of formaldehyde or acetone. And the FDA limits aren't exactly conservative, so I don't know what to tell you. I want to take keto salts. I think D'Agostino's perspective on the sodium and magnesium and potassium, I agree with him outright. Keto salts would be great, but I'm not willing to take a formaldehyde and acetone hit to get some keto salts when I have a perfectly good source of ketones called brain octane. Yeah, you guys could say, well, Dave's selling brain octane. Dude, I'm selling brain octane. Why am I not selling keto salts given that I could be? because that's not what was in your best interest, even though I would make a lot of money if I was selling them. So you guys can take that however you want, and I will sell them as soon as I can get some that are free of these things. I think this is something that the industry needs to address. If we want supplements to remain free, we better make clean ones. And people could jump to the market. Sometimes it's just innovation and it happens, but other times it's just kind of capitalizing, or either not taking the time and the money to test. It's not caring, or it's just a simple mistake, but it's one that I didn't make. So I will bring you clean keto salts as soon as a manufacturer can stand up and show me that they have them, because no manufacturer out there today has them. So, Phil, how do you get better from Lyme disease naturally? Ozone therapy. Bulletproof conference in Asia. You know, guess where I'm going next month? I'm going to be flying to Japan, and I'm going to do a 5-day tour there and do some book signing. By the way, the coffee is pretty much done. So I'm just tapping it a little bit, so if I can show this to you. Just kind of do that. It causes gravity to get the saturated particles to drop. And here's the trick without a filter. You pour it in. Can you see that? It's mostly clean coffee coming out there. There should be no floaty grounds. You have to finely grind it. If it's ground so that it's kind of chunky, you'll get floaters and it's gross. So you leave some in there. Let's see if I can show this. So I didn't pour all of it out. It looks all kind of gunky in there. I just poured some on the table. That was cool. There we go. Anyhow, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to tap this a few more times and let it settle. And then once that happens, I'll double decanted it right into my bulletproof mug. And, well, that's going to be awesome. Still a little bit of Instamix left from the last time I made the real bulletproof in here. All right. Mark, I wouldn't mess with the non-lab tested coffee because they mix some other crap in there. It's from Mark Gully. Totally not a good idea. What am I doing in Phoenix? Joe Polish has his 25K meeting, which is a really cool meeting. You get to hang out with a bunch of other entrepreneurs, about 250 of them. And this is how I learn. I'm actually going to be doing a podcast on entrepreneurship soon that's very different from Bulletproof Radio. Bulletproof Radio is like, how do you kick ass as a human being? I don't care if you're an entrepreneur or not. And only a few people who listen want to know about entrepreneurship. I have 20 years of this, and like I've proven my abilities there over and over, and I like to share it, but only if people really care. So I'm going to teach people who are interested how to build a real company with sustaining value. It's like the opposite of the get rich quick and live in Thailand model. It's like, how do you change the world by building sustainable companies that provide jobs for hundreds of people? That's the deal. So I'm really stoked to share that. You guys will hear more about that in a few months. Cindy, kombucha has 5 kinds of antibiotics in it that are kind of untested. So for some people it does great, but look, if you drink kombucha and you feel crappy, you're not a bad person. It doesn't work for you. So it could work, it could not work. I like some kombucha, other kombucha makes me dizzy. So it's just a question of your own constitution. It's probably good overall for most people, but it doesn't mean it has to be that way for you. James, where can you get the hat? It'll be on the Bulletproof site soon. William, I don't have a detailed date for Keto Prime, the new supplement, but let me show you guys. This is the new stuff. There's a ketone that no one knows about, and it's called oxaloacetate. And it's not thermally stable, but we've got it stabilized with some cofactors for mitochondrial production. And before you can use any ketone, including something from brain octane, or before you can use glucose in the body, you have to have the molecule that's in Keto Prime present. And if you have mitochondrial leakage, which most people do, especially if you're over 25, in fact, 48% of people under 40 have this, and everyone over 40 has it. You run out of this molecule. So when you just top it up a little bit, now you can use your food energy most effectively. So Keto Prime is going to be incredible. Carolyn, if you can't tolerate coconut oil, do I think you'd be okay with MCT oil? I don't recommend MCT oil. The reason is that the people who sell MCT oil are marketing stuff that doesn't raise ketones as if it does. Like, there is complete, at this point, things that I think the FTC should be investigating, because there's confusion. A chemist named MCT oil a long time ago. and they didn't understand what they did biologically. So it's legal to say something is MCT oil, even if it's actually digested like a long-chain oil. Also, the MCT oil you can get causes gastric distress, and a lot of it comes from China and all. That's why I use brain octane, which is not MCT oil. It's 1/4 of what's in MCT oil, and it raises ketones much higher in University of California studies that show the difference between MCT and brain octane is very substantial. So MCT oil is likely to cause gastric distress, but if you're allergic to coconut oil, brain octane oil is pharmaceutical grade and doesn't have protein in it, so most people can tolerate that even if they're sensitive to coconut protein, but you'd have to test and check with your doctor and all that. Kareem, there's a link on the website to become a distributor. Yes, a Starbucks versus Bulletproof. I love Starbucks. They have great filtered water, and they brought like coffee culture to America, so who can't be grateful for that? Besides, I'm enjoying my Starbucks paper cup and filtered water right now. In fact, check this out. I'm going to decant from this back into my Bulletproof mug right now. So Starbucks water to brew Bulletproof coffee, perfect brewing temperature, perfect water. They make good tea. I prefer my coffee beans, as you guys know, but I have great respect for Starbucks. And then here's my Bulletproof mug. I'm just going to pour the clean, mold-free coffee that I brewed myself using Bulletproof beans right into my mug. And here's what I want to show you guys. All of the grounds, all right, I might make a mess doing this, but all of the grounds, the nasty grounds that would have been in here, like, let's see, almost none. So I got a real clean filter here, and what's in here is as good as a French press, if not cleaner, and I did it with no equipment other than 2 cups and some hot water, which is kind of cool. All right, I'm gonna answer like 3 more questions, then I should call my kids and say goodnight and run to the gate. Nicholas, I do wholesale Bulletproof products. We're in national distribution. We're in Whole Foods in a lot of places. Yvette, Bulletproof yerba mate. Yerba mate is really ampy to me, and you can certainly use yerba mate with brain octane, and it'll change the way you metabolize energy because of the ketones. But I tend to get a little bit tweaked. Teresa, why would you order MCT oil online when you could order brain octane online and it works better? Said you should know that. You've been in my house. All right. Christopher, who does my marketing? I do. Explain the coffee thing. I gotta go. How long does it sit and how long do you strain? It should sit for about 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and I don't do any straining. I just kind of do gravity filtering here. Derek, why are cornflakes so delicious? For the same reason that heroin is delicious, or so I've heard. AJ, you want Andy back on the podcast again? He's been on 4 times. He's like the most frequent guest. Andy's a friend of mine. If you guys don't know about Alatura, he makes like a facial cream and a facial mask and sort of restored his face. He's also just got a new deal on a TV show. So he's one of my friends and he's been working it. Derek, is Captain Crunch part of the Bulletproof diet? Absolutely. The Bulletproof diet includes all foods. You just pick what neighborhood you're going to be in. If you're in the Captain Crunch neighborhood, what you do is you take the Captain Crunch and Spam, like the meat stuff, and you put it in a blender with butter and brain octane. You just blend it right up, and it becomes Bulletproof Captain Crunch. It's amazing what happens there. Marlon, do black people and white people have different dietary requirements? I am so happy that you asked me that. Thank you. I gave a little talk at the conference about this. Vitamin D requirements change when we're black, or if you just have darker skin, if you're Indian or Mexican. There are right now thousands and thousands of innocent black men in prison. And it's because when babies don't get enough vitamin D comes from sunlight. I'm pale, I'm Northern European, so I can make vitamin D without very much sunlight, enough to not get broken bones. If your skin is dark, you need a lot more sunlight. So we have an epidemic of black babies who get broken bones because they have not enough vitamin D. It's a condition called rickets. So you get this situation where caring parents take their kid to the emergency room because they're crying all the time. The ER does an x-ray, finds that there are broken bones all over the kid. They were broken because there's a lack of vitamin D. And well, what happens? The police say, we know one of you has been shaking and beating the baby. You can both go to jail, or one of you can confess. So everyone knows the baby needs their mommy. So innocent black men raise their hand and say, yeah, I did it. and we're breaking up families right now, and it's entirely unacceptable. This is just a nutritional deficiency. There is none of that happening. There have always been, in all races, cases of child abuse. This isn't child abuse. This is just a lack of sunshine and a lack of vitamin D supplementation. And it frankly pisses me off. Like, it is simply unacceptable. So if you share this with a friend who's black, it's so important for black mothers who are nursing, or for black babies especially, to get their vitamin D. This is in the Better Baby book, the book I wrote. It doesn't matter what color your skin is, you need your vitamin D, but if your skin is dark, you need it even more. And this is like one of the biggest tragedies happening right now. I can't imagine choosing to go to jail to allow my child to be with his or her parents. It's a complete tragedy. It's just not cool. All right, Sam Harris, Mike, do you think I should interview? Jenny, why is it not more widely known? I don't know, but let me do what I can to make that more known, because it's just not cool. Kirsten, how much can coffee contribute to adrenal fatigue? Here's the deal. Mold toxins in coffee are shown in medical studies to directly affect the adrenal cortex, actually, and the adrenal medulla. So that is one variable. They also can trigger autoimmunity, which is another variable. And then there's coffee itself. And I've done a couple interviews with functional medicine people. 1 cup of coffee in the morning with brain octane and butter, the way you do it right, it actually gives you your life back when you have adrenal fatigue. If you're pounding coffee all day long because you drink it and you crash, it's not good for you. It's a question of the dose and the purity. My question about what type of meditation do I practice most frequently? I go to 40 years of Zen, and I hook electrodes up to my head, and I do advanced Buddhist Zen meditation with 1,000 feedbacks a second, rubber bumpers basically, and I go into really deep states where my body disappears. You don't need to do that very often. It's pretty heavy-duty stuff. Matthew, do I like tigers? Only in my bulletproof coffee. Tiger milk is actually like the best. Michael, I do make brain octane capsules. And brain octane capsules have an antifungal effect that's different than just drinking the bulletproof brain octane. Justin, difference in bioavailability of glutathione force and glutathione IVs. Glutathione force is the most orally available one that I know how to make. And it's not as good as getting one in your vein, but it's cheap. It takes a lot of dollars to get IV into your blood, but it's a good thing. I'm going to be in Tokyo, Zach, October, I think, 19th-ish. But, all right, guys, I got to go to the gate. So have a beautiful afternoon. Thanks for joining me this Saturday. And I will be drinking my bulletproof way after 2 p.m. I'm a very bad biohacker. Have a good night. And if you like this, share it with a friend, especially that part about black babies, because that has to end. So share it with someone who would care about that. Just give them a little Cliff Notes part of it. And if you can like this and whatever else, I appreciate that. So, and nothing else, go to the Bulletproof store, order some Bulletproof coffee, get some brain octane. It will change your brain. Have a good day.